start. Hello, and we say a fantastic day to you at this moment of your time. We are the Pleiadian Council, and we speak on behalf of a galactic alliance supporting your world in this process that some of you call ascension or awakening. It is a gift and a blessing for us to be able to contact you in this way, as it is of support for our world as well, as we expand through the reflections that you offer to us. And anytime that we assist other worlds in their development, it serves the greater good of all. So we thank you for allowing this transmission to take place. We come to your world as your planet is going through a process of awakening to higher truths, you could say. Your planet is going through a process of literally shifting from one perspective of dimensions to another. So your consciousness is growing to expand into holding more than you once could comprehend. This is a shift to embody the frequency of timelessness, of unconditional love. And in order to transition from the state that you're in now into this higher frequency state, your planet is going through a purge, a transformation, a letting go of negative frequencies that have held you back for some time. These are energies essentially of self-centeredness, of mistaking the small self, what some of you call the ego, the individual, as the ultimate reality. And thus, you live in a world that is catered to everybody having their own house, apartment, yard, their own construct of who they are as a person, living their best life, doing it themselves, proving themselves to the world, to others, to earn titles, diplomas, to make mom and dad proud, to not be a disappointment among their friends. All of this is based upon a distorted notion of who am I and how do I find happiness through taking for myself and through creating this idea of who I am. Yet none of these ideas of who you are really reflect your spirit. Your spirit is who you were before you were born, and it's who you will be after you die. Your spirit, or what many of you call your higher self, is one with the Great Spirit or the Source. You've always been that source. You will always be that source. The true you cannot be subtracted from or added to. It cannot be divided. It cannot be multiplied. And it's all you will ever be. By coming into this realm, you forget. And you go through a process of adding layers of more and more forgetfulness so that eventually you can wake up to see your true self. Some of you only wake up when you die. Some of you wake up gradually over periods of time through doing intentional practices, and some of you wake up over periods of time suddenly, by destiny, not by choice, by mere seeming coincidences that all of a sudden brings you to a mystical state of remembrance. And some of you will think that you have to do this awakening a certain way, and others of you will find that the path to awakening is your own, is something that cannot be captured or defined, and is simply a part of the unfolding wisdom of your own heart. So we share with your world a formula that accelerates this process of awakening, and it has 3 components that happen essentially simultaneously. They are all equally important. This formula is to act on your own highest excitement to the best of your ability without insisting on particular outcomes. In this first part, you can replace that word excitement with many words. It can be love, it can be joy, it can be enthusiasm, it can be passion, it can be bliss, it can be ecstasy. We come from a realm beyond words, and oftentimes you get confused because you have so many different languages. It doesn't matter what you call this frequency. It is the frequency of the heart. It is the energy that brought you here today, and it is the energy that carries you to those moments of awakening. You may not know why you feel so compelled to go somewhere, to meet someone, to learn something, but in your heart you know it to be the way. This is your spirit working through you. And when you trust this energy and act upon it, it will lead you to where you need to be. The second part is to have, or rather to do the best you can. It's rather simple. It's to not give up. It's to be persistent. It's to use all of your inner resources, like your intelligence and your gifts and your talents, to do what your heart calls you to do. And it's to open yourself to the support of the universe, to not be small, to not think that you don't deserve it, and let the help guide you. And finally, you let go of insistence on outcomes. You practice non-attachment to what you think you wanted, and you recognize that the purpose of this frequency in your heart is not to get you the specific thing that you think you want every time, but it's to bring you through the process of getting to experience and know this energy of unconditional love more and more. And the process itself is the point. Oftentimes your intuition from your higher self guides you to a dead end, and you think that you weren't actually following your intuition. But what you don't necessarily see is if you backtrack just a little bit, there's another pathway that takes you somewhere different. And if you really tune in and you let go of where you thought you were going, you find that that fork in the road has something far better than you ever possibly imagined. And so this is part of why it's so important that you don't insist on outcomes and you let the experiences guide you. We also wish to say to you today that you are all powerful creators. You have the power to use your mind, particularly your subconscious mind, to create your reality. Many people feel as if life is nothing but a rerun. It is the same show or movie that plays again and again and again. They come to only expect the same sorts of experiences, or experiences that bring them to feel the exact same way, because they've never learned how they can create their reality or their experiences. Life will be this repeat performance, or this rerun, when you don't get in touch with and change your subconscious mind. This is because experiences that you have and emotions that run through your body leave an impression on this subconscious mind. And this subconscious mind, which is the same realm of your dreams, will then influence your actions in ways that you don't fully understand and can't grasp completely at early phases in your development. And it will bring you to the same experiences. Your subconscious mind also has the power to send energy to people around you and to the environment around you to bring about the same sorts of experiences, the same sorts of relationships, the same sorts of events. And this is why it feels as if you've already experienced this so many times. And thus, if you want to change what you're experiencing, you have to develop your ability to dream. You have to allow yourself to expand with your imagination and realize that your imagination is not something that merely makes things up, but your imagination is like a magnifying glass that shows you other realities of your own mind and the mind of God. And as you use this imagination to connect with your inner world, you will see the dreams and stories that play out inside before they come to be. And thus you will gain the ability to change the stories by creating a new dream. We suggest several such practices. If you ever have a bad dream, guide yourself into a sort of meditative or hypnotic state and face what scared you in your dream and change the situation. Play out a different situation. Feel and visualize a different outcome happening. When you experience something traumatic, replay it in your imagination and visualize a different outcome. When you see yourself going through daydreams and fantasies about negative experiences happening in your future, stop yourself and play out a positive story. Yes, having no insistence on outcomes is necessary in this process. Being neutral, being non-attached to the emotions you experience is helpful. You cannot allow your fear to stop you from looking at yourself and opening up to the mirror. Because if you do, you won't tap into the tremendous power that you have to change and transform. Dreaming in this way and practices like meditation and hypnosis also help you to connect with realms beyond. They help you to connect with realms like the planes that we come from, and where your other guides come from, and where your power animals and so on and so forth come from. And when you build connection and alliance with these beings, they can help you in your lives to also embody new frequencies, new energies, approach situations different ways, gain insight and wisdom to live your life from a different perspective. So the more you dare yourself to dream and recognize that whether you realize it or not, your imagination is always working, you pave the way for this higher psychic function to open and for you to be able to create different experiences and also to open to multidimensional connections. Well, we thank you for allowing us to share this information with you, and now we ask, in which ways can we be of service to you with your questions, your comments, musings, inquiries, or stories? You can begin whenever you would like.
I have a question.
Yes.
A personal question. It's
Yes.
about some guidance for some physical healing.
All right.
In the body, in particular the digestion, left hip and thyroid. I wonder if the guys, they have any guidance for me as to how I can work on healing this.
All right. Do you eat a good amount of healthy proteins?
I'm eating more protein now than I did last year.
This will be helpful. Have you been on a raw diet ever?
No, I find I can't digest too much raw food.
Yes. Yes, your body is actually averse to different sorts of vegetables at this time. So if you ever eat greens of any sort, besides simple things like iceberg lettuce or whatever, make sure that they are cooked properly, and we would suggest to have a bit less of them. On an emotional level, this is about the inner fire and reclaiming the power of your inner fire. It's connected with past experiences of being manipulated, and you've been essentially tricked into mistaking yourself for someone you're not because it serves other people in their stories. So this is a breaking free. This is a breaking free from the roles that you've been cast in and directing a new movie in which you are the star and you create the role that you're going to be playing. This power of inner fire is the core of emotional healing that will bring this sort of a transformation. And at a physical level, it might also come with having a diet that consists of more ginger, more turmeric, more foods like cooked garlic from time to time. Also things like short treatments of astragalus and golden seal will be helpful in detoxing a certain level and kicking in your power to digest in deeper ways. As you do this, you may be digesting certain experiences, and the process of healing might bring some conflict that on an inner level and an outer level. So part of reclaiming this fire is letting go of some of your fear of conflict. Can you face that head on without internalizing things that people say to you? And as you do that, it will greatly accelerate the healing process. Does that resonate? Can we add something?
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you.
Yes, our thanks to you as well. Somebody else has a question?
I actually have two questions. I feel they're connected to each other.
Yes.
It's personal. So the one is, how could I become closer to you, to the Pleiadian? And the second one is how could I become a mother, if it makes sense?
Yes. To become closer to us, there are many things that you can do. The most important is raising your frequency, is living a life filled with more love. Following that formula and being guided by your heart will naturally allow you to be at a higher frequency of energy. And when you are at this higher frequency, it will be easier to connect with your guides. And the other way is by doing dreaming and channeling practices. As you've already established connection with us in your dreams, you can use your sleep time as a way of deepening into contact with your guides. So we would say it would be great if you can write a letter to your guides before you go to sleep and put it under your pillow. It can be a simple, short couple of sentences, but ask for what you would like to experience in your dream time at that night. And after you write it, you can allow it to fall away and simply relax as you go to sleep, knowing that having written it once is enough to initiate that process of allowing your dreams to be like a meeting room for different guides to connect with you. You can also do this consciously through guided meditation practices or past life regression, something of this nature. Even listening to recordings online is enough to be able to go inside to your own imagination and invite your guides in. And in this way, meet with us and get to know our energy. As you feel more and more familiar with our frequency, you will find that we are with you all the time, and then we can start to communicate in subtle ways. At first, it might seem very intense when we connect with you, and over time, as you do this regularly a couple of times a week for some months, you might simply hear a whisper in your ear, knowing that we are there. You might simply feel an energy come from your crown chakra that moves down your spine in a very peculiar way, reminding you that someone else is with you. And these sorts of connections can grow and expand with time. And for your second question, we would ask, how would you like to experience becoming a mother? Is there a particular way that you want it to happen? Where, with whom, when?
Not now.
All right.
It was before in my last relationship, but it wouldn't happen, so I have doubts around it, if it's my way or not in this lifetime.
It wouldn't happen because you couldn't conceive, or he didn't want to, or...
We couldn't conceive, but there are no health issues.
At a deeper level, you knew that this wasn't the right person for you, and so the pregnancy didn't happen.
No.
And you can practice as well calling out to both your ideal partner and this new soul that wants to come in. In the same way that you would connect with a guide, you can connect with the soul of both this person and the child that you will share together. And by getting familiar with these energies and continuing to follow your heart and trust the timing, you'll get closer and closer. Though we don't think that there's anything that is not right with your body. We think that it simply was not the soul agreement, and so you were blessed to not have to go through something that would have slowed down your own path. Yes, our thanks to you. Something more? We can come back to you if you wish. All right, somebody else has a question?
What is my role
What is your role
for this year?
for this year?
Yes.
What excites you most? What do you want to experience in life? That's a question. What?
To be part of a community.
Yes. And what does that community look like for you? Do you have ideas about what kind of community it's supposed to be?
Yes.
So, the most important thing to learn for community is how to open your heart without losing yourself. How do you create deep connections with others without letting go of the individual things that are important for you? What's very important for community is communication. Those words are so similar for that reason. How you build connections is in how you express yourself. And some of the reasons community might not have worked out the way that you wanted in the past is because of confusion around expressing yourself. So the invitation to go deeper into community is to connect deeper with what you want as well beyond community. Why do you want community? And how do you want to experience it? And what else do you want in life? When other people make you feel uncomfortable, do you express it right away? Or do you wait until it's too late? By learning how to say what you're feeling in the moment, you can create stronger connections. Knowing that the core of your heart is pure, and it's the same for everyone else, you can trust more your own deep inner feeling and allow it to guide you to finding this pathway of communication. And this will be both very joyful, and it will also be very healing. Something more? All right. Does anybody else like to ask a question at this time?
I'd like to make a question.
Yes.
How do I deal with a soul that made me notice I had a soul?
A soul that made you notice that you have a soul.
Yeah.
Well, that's something you should be very thankful for, no?
I'm very thankful, but that soul is far from me in a way, and it's like if it were part of myself. I feel like lost.
All is one, so that is part of why you feel like this soul is so connected with you, especially because this awakening comes through love, and love is the essential nature of Source. So when you feel this sadness, remember that it comes with a longing, it comes with a deep love, and the love that you feel is not to be feared. This love is guiding you to remember more of the power of your own soul. So surrender to what you're feeling. Allow yourself to be present. And allow for more love to flow into you. Allow love to be what heals you and help you remember. And as you do this, you might find that there's much more love to be experienced and shared all around you with many other people.
Thank you.
Yes, something more? All right.
So if I can, my first question about the physical healing,
Yes.
spoke about digestion, which was answered, but I also mentioned the thyroid, my left hip, my sacrum. Is there any guidance as to how I can bring
Well-
balance and healing?
What happened with the sacrum?
There's in the left hip, it's the joint between the left hip bone and my sacrum is a bit loose, a bit fluid, like it kind of gets destabilized. And for the thyroid, I've been told that my thyroid is not in balance.
You've been told that, but have you experienced anything related to it?
Yeah, I can feel there's not something right in my thyroid. My
Yes.
sense is it's related to communication,
Yes.
which was related, that came through in the digestion. When
Yes, yes. The challenges with communication are directly connected to the digestion. So when you focus on that, the throat will find its balance as well, because naturally finding your power and speaking your truth and casting yourself in the role that you want to be in your own film is going to require that you communicate very much. As for the hip, it's something about the receptive component of the sacral chakra. So this is about receiving pleasure, and it isn't just sexual pleasure, but it is also connected with that. It's about feeling that life is good and pleasurable, about slowing down and feeling the way that the sand moves through your toes and enjoying it, about looking out to the waves and deeply appreciating them, and enjoying very deeply what you eat slowly and also savoring it. It's about not being afraid of pleasure and not being afraid of when you feel desire for another person or desire for an experience that might not be as known to you. And on a physical level, you can heal this with strengthening practices. So one is to simply lay on your back and alternate bringing one knee into the chest and bringing the other leg extended with the heel just above the ground. Also doing practices that are about raising your legs slowly and carefully will help this very much. Avoid overstretching. So slow down on practices like yoga, and if you do them very slowly and mindfully. It can be done, but you want to focus more on the idea of strengthening than stretching.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yes.
I have a question.
Yes.
How can I quiet the voices in my head, not only while I'm meditating, but also during the day?
It may be helpful to explore the voices, because part of why they get so loud is that they are ignored. So meditating can be a very helpful way to learn how to focus and be more calm, though you might want to find out why those voices are there So it can be helpful to let go of your fear of them and maybe free write or journal with a notebook and paper, or with a phone even. You can type it out, or you can do voice to text, or you can do it on a laptop. Any way of writing out what you are thinking and then looking back at it later as a meditation. And as you do this, feel what you're feeling. And as you were doing earlier in the meditation, feel the sensation without judging it. Witness the story and feel that story as connected with a sensation in your body. And allow this to soften what you're feeling and soften the fear of the voices. As you do this, you might come to notice that some of the emotions that arise within you are not the voices themselves, or are not the voices that you think they are, rather. It's another voice that is afraid of a specific voice. You'll start to notice that there isn't just one voice, but there are many, and they're in a relationship. And this relationship is one where there is fear and there is frustration. And when you practice witnessing the conversation as if you are a third person at a table of your multiple inner voices having a fight with each other, and feeling that peace in your heart as you watch it, the voices will calm down and they will recognize that they are not you, and you will recognize that you are not them. And if you feel comfortable after doing this process for some time, we would say speak about this with a close friend, or even somebody who is skilled in working with some sort of counseling to let this energy transform. As you've been trying to ignore a conversation that wants to happen within you. And instead you have to learn how to witness this conversation with greater self-compassion. And again, recognize that these voices aren't you. And you have to teach the voices as well that they aren't you.
Thank you.
Yes, so thanks to you as well. Anybody else has a question?
I have one.
What was that?
So
Yes.
I feel like one of the things, emotions that's really lowering my frequency is guilt.
Yes.
And it comes in the ways of like collective, like what have we done to earth, to the nature.
Yes.
It's really sometimes difficult to let go of it. So what would be your advice how to work with this guilt?
Did you destroy the environment?
By myself,
Yes.
living in the city and like.
But did
not
you build the city?
directly. No, I didn't.
Did you decide to cut down the trees?
No, not personally.
So why are you guilty?
Because I am the part of the humanity that has done it. That's how I.
But did you do it?
No.
So guilt is a cover emotion that often exists to block your emotions of empowerment. Guilt creates paralysis. It makes it difficult to move and to feel other emotions. And while it may also not be pleasant, you'll find a greater sense of power when you feel emotions like sadness or frustration about what's happening. Because these emotions lead to action, but guilt leads to not really that much. If you can feel and grieve with the earth, your heart will open. If you can feel angry at the people who made those decisions to cause this destruction, you can become part of a movement to hold accountable those who are responsible. Are you all responsible? Yes, but can you, as individuals, for example, 5 people here today, go out and stop deforestation? It would be difficult because none of you are in control of the logging companies. And humanity is very intentionally confused. Did you know, for example, that BP Oil funded research behind the concept personal carbon footprint and funded the campaigns that informed humans about this idea because they are one of the biggest polluters? But they knew that people wouldn't be angry and pushing back against them as powerfully and as hard if they felt personally responsible and guilty about it. And so a lot of the programming that you receive that says humanity itself is the problem is engineered by the 1% and the 0.00001% who calls the shots. And when a huge percent of your population understands that the tiniest fraction are the ones causing the harm and the damage that they have taken an internalized sense of responsibility for, that will lead to a transformation. It might look like a revolution, but it will not be as destructive as revolutions of the past. But you need to live it, and you need to understand who is responsible. So whenever you feel emotions of guilt and shame, ask yourself, did I really cause this? Did I really do anything? If you did, then do something to change it. But if you didn't, ask yourself, who is responsible?
Okay, thank you.
Yes, our thanks to you as well. Anything else?
I have a question.
All right.
Thank you. I received a vision from Spirit a long time ago, 2008, to co-create a healing centre in powerful nature. Is there any guidance as to location, and is there any guidance as to any connection I have with Mexico and any soul contract with Mexico to do any land-light work in Mexico?
Do you envision this community as somewhere in an environment like Mexico?
Yeah,
And have you looked at different potential places?
in the process.
It's very possible that it would be here because Mexico is a place of great awakening. Mexico is a country that is on the rise, so to speak, globally, and will be an epicenter for great processes of healing.
And thank you so much for that. The other country that I have been exploring well, the two, Italy and France. Is there anything specific that's coming on those?
These are also suitable places. They will go through greater levels of transformation than will take place in Mexico, for example. But it will still be very possible to build what you envision there. It's about what calls to you, because regardless of what happens in the collective, know that your land will be its own place in its own reality.
Thank you so much.
Thanks to you as well. So we would invite you to tune in now for a closing meditation. If you can, sit with your spine tall, or even lay down as long as your spine is tall, or straight rather. It's entirely up to you. And focus on your heart center, and breathe deeply into this place. Visualize the symbol of a figure 8 in your heart. And witness a stream of energy that moves back and forth in this figure 8 that represents infinity. Infinite light. Infinite love. Infinite existence with its center in your heart. Now turn this figure 8 on its side and stretch it vertically. So one end of the figure 8 travels down through your root chakra, and the other end travels through your crown chakra. And still witness it, creating a wave of light that moves up and down your body, moving through your heart and reversing around, back down your body. And again, stretch the figure 8 even bigger, seeing one end of it going all the way down into the core of your earth. And as it does, feeling your body grow roots like a tree that extend into the earth, connecting you to the crystals, to the lava, to the water, to the plants, to the mycelium, to the volcanoes, to the natural gases, and to the very central core of the earth. A solid, vibrating crystal that's emitting a frequency and is vibrating. Imagine that you can feel this vibration with your body. And feel this energy rising up through the crystal, through all of the layers into the earth, and into your body. And extend the top end of the loop of this figure 8 symbol all the way into the center of this galaxy that is a supermassive black hole, far, far away. While it is millions, if not billions, of light years away, Its energy is right now here with you. Feel this huge power of light pour like a waterfall into your body. And watch this figure eight continue to spin and ripple, bringing earth energy into your body, bringing cosmic energy into your body, and allowing it to traverse, expanding and getting more powerful each time it passes through your heart. As this energy travels back and forth, it may connect you deeper and deeper with your guides on the earth realm and in the galactic realm. Allow your imagination to be open while you allow your body to now relax. If you haven't yet found yourself lying on the ground, you may do so now, and let the sounds wash over you and carry you deeper into this energy. Let your imagination run wild as your body completely rests and surrenders into this now moment, into this forever infinite moment.